Completeness of data. Okay, you're never going to have perfect data for your scenarios. And this is one of those things that we have to understand, we have to recognize, and we have to make sure it doesn't drive us into a position of bias. It's okay to not have complete data. Nothing is ever going to be complete. By definition, analysis is against incomplete data because we do not have all the data related to what we're analyzing. Hi, my name's Ross, the creator and founder of Geordie Consulting and Geordie Intelligence, the YouTube channel you're watching right now. What I thought we would talk about is completeness of data. Analysis, by definition, is against incomplete data. Okay? We talk about the facts of something. So the facts of our retail data that, yes, if this sale took place, this is why, or this is how much we sold. But why did we sell those ones? Did we sell that product really well because it's the best product or because it's the only one we stocked? Did that make sense? Did they choose that color or was that the only one that was available? Do you see? There's more to what we really want to understand than necessarily we have. And what we will invariably do is build assumptions based on that incomplete data. And this is part of what analysis is about, but it's something that we, as business professionals, need to make sure is present in our results and what we present back to our colleagues and to our management teams so that they understand the realities of that data. So here we are, okay, we've come back to the parkrun data set because there's a piece in here that I thought we should really look at. But this whole thing is nice from a what's going on perspective. So if we think about parkrun, okay, in our data set we've got 30 plus events now. Which event did person A go to today? They could have gone to their local, they could have gone to one a little bit further afield. If we look at Newcastle, in the centre of Newcastle, there are 3 events that are within just over a mile of each other. So in theory, a big chunk of the city could go to any of those 3. Equally, I could go a little bit further, go to Rising Sun, I could go to Denton Dean, I could go to go to Whitley Bay, I could go to Gateshead. It's not a simple, they're going to go to the nearest one. That's not how it works. And this is one of those things that this data set, yeah, it's great. It shows us what events went on. It shows what happened, how many people attended. But it fails to capture the why. Why did they go to this parkrun? Why did they go to that event? Why did we have this many people turn up at this event at that time? Some of the stuff we can see. So if we go back to our event summary, and we've got Townmore here, but if I change the event picked to be Jesmond Dean, okay, and we have a look, we can see we have these spikes. If we hover over them, we can see these in September. If I did a quick calendar check, I can vote Great North Run Weekend. So we know Great North Run Weekend is our busiest time. But what we've done, how have we made that assumption? If we think through and play it back, we've gone outside the data. The data did not provide that the Great North Run takes place that weekend. Equally, I know it's the first weekend in July normally, first or second weekend in July. Does that correlate? This is the Great North 10K is normally around the 6th of July, 6th, 7th of July. So we had 251. That's not a particularly high number. So again, a big event, 10,000 people or so running it, doesn't seem to have that much of an impact. Admittedly, it's only 10K. Potentially people would do both, wouldn't they? But that said again, Great North Run Weekend. Why, when people are doing a half marathon, do we have record numbers the day before? Why? Data is not present in the data set. We do not have the answer for that. We know and we expect it, and I could turn around and say, well, we're going to have lots of people, lots of tourists coming in to do the Great North Run, But why that correlates and translates to higher than average numbers is a bit of a mystery to us. What would cause it? We could turn around and say if we look town more, they tend to be off. But this high spot here, okay, that's a Great North Run weekend when they had their record attendance. Now, record attendance there, 2025, it's significantly higher than what they would have had last year, the year before. So potentially, is this it? February. So we can't even find September 24. I'm feeling September 24 they were closed the week before, but we'd have to go and check. So the data hasn't been clear, and this is why we would turn around and say, right, there is something we need to do. We need to put in place what would essentially be a holiday calendar. So Great North Runs, other things that would be big events, we would put into that holiday calendar, and then we would look and see what happens plus or minus 7 days from there, and then that would pull together and collate that figure. So we'd be able to see what's happening across those events and track what's happening. And again, you'd want some little bit of leeway around it, because what you'd want to be able to see is the event before, the event after, and obviously the key event, the event around the core event. Yeah. So the Saturday before the Great North Run on the Sunday would be a key event. We would need to work out how we put that in, and that'd be some logic that we would put into a business calendar or into a holiday calendar, sorry. And that will happen with everything. So whatever you're doing with a religious holiday calendar, with a religious calendar or a holiday calendar, anything like that, there's going to be business logic that has to attach to it. The calendar is going to point to key dates that will affect your analysis. But again, it's not present in the data today. But if I was to say, what are we going to do in September 2026 when the Great North Run takes place on the Sunday? We will make sure we have extra volunteers on hand. We will make sure that we've got all sorts of other things to try and cope with record numbers. But the data doesn't show that. Why do we take that decision? Yeah? Agree? Disagree? We've got another example, haven't we? Okay. The other example, the reason why we're in here, is the one that I put in, kind of part of this segmentation piece, that we were looking to try and work out the segments of the events, and actually to then put together an amount and that economic model to put this into the report. So we could say, well, this is what we're expecting to happen. And segmentation and this is really difficult because it's not a clear cut, this is right. And if we look here, we zoom in a bit, we can see what we've assumed. So for first timers, we've said that local visits, so 5%, or sorry, they're going to spend £5. That's going to be half of the visitors. We've got near visits, potentially they're coming a little bit further afield. They might have breakfast. They might even do some more stuff. £15 they might spend, or on average they would spend, because this is always going to be finger in the air. Now, we could do all these things, and I was looking at this and I was saying, well, by definition, I have deliberately tried to say this is not accurate. I do not ever want to convey this model as accurate. It needs to be as vague, or not as vague, but as simplistic as possible. And that's why we're doing things like we're rounding it. We're kind of make sure that it's not a this is to the pence value. It's kind of a rounded to the nearest £1,000 kind of thing, just as a rough finger in the air. Is this about right? There's a couple of things that we've got in here. So we haven't split this based on age group, and we haven't split it based on gender. And you could argue, oh, well, men will spend more. You could argue women will spend more. You could argue children or under 18s won't spend, so they shouldn't be included. And the logic for including them was, well, it's deliberately vague, is kind of the whole point. But also, potentially, if you've gone with your children, which a lot of under 18s will be traveling with adults, potentially that's going to make them spend more because, oh, I've got whining kids, I need to feed them. It might not. That could be my bias and my assumptions that I'm bringing to the table. And the only way we would be able to prove any of this would be to actually start looking and actually gauging proper economic activity, either putting out a questionnaire to people that say, right, can you fill in and let us know, what did you spend? I put a question out on Reddit when I was first starting to build this. It's like, roughly, what am I doing? Lots of people came out and thought, that's nonsense, people don't spend that. I've just spoken to people today at parkrun who said, oh, well, yeah, I spent this much. I've traveled. Oh, we stayed in a hotel. Yeah, we do this all the time. It's a very difficult thing as to how much people spend when they travel with parkrun. And that's really what we're trying to gauge here. And part of the logic for this as well is obviously, if we wanted at a local authority level, or even based on what we're doing, the Northeast Combined Authority level, that figure is probably at least within an order of magnitude of being correct, is what I would say for the economic activity of it. And potentially it's actually low, would be possibly as well where we would go. I mean, I know for me, when I go up I do a park run up in St Andrews, do St Andrews park run regularly. So I'll go and I'll get a Coke when I'm there because I run to the event, do the event, and run back to the hotel afterwards. So I end up doing like a 15k, which is, it's nice to have like a drink halfway through. So after I've done the park run, run up there, done the park run, have a drink, and then I'll run home. So I'd like something. So I spend something, I buy something. I might buy two. I've bought the odd times, I've bought a couple of cans of pop, cans of Iron Brew, because, it's in Scotland. So I get it. I understand. When I'm volunteering at Jesmond, we'll go and get a coffee afterwards. So there's money being spent. There's economic activity happening. But how do we gauge what that is? That's the, as it were, the exam question. What is the economic impact of parkrun on a local authority? Question. Okay. The other bit which is terrible with this is obviously we've got Newcastle parkruns here, and we're saying, well, this parkrun is potentially this is the benefit for it. But somebody might be staying in Gateshead. They might be staying at the coast. They might be staying in Sunderland. So the economic benefit of that hotel isn't in Newcastle. Understand? The economic benefit is a difficult one to do because it's not, even as I say, we question, where do you go? They're not going to say, no, well, I crossed the boundary and I went into North Tyneside to have my breakfast. Potentially they're not going to know. So how would we go beyond this? How could we next level this? And I think this is where it's kind of like, it's this. We caveat it very strongly. This is the assumption set that's gone into it. If you have a different assumption set, we can build a model like this. I can easily build something around this. We can add a gender, we can add an age grouping to it. So you can build that complexity through. You could take it as far as you want. But what's the answer? Okay, should you? Yes or no? The reality is, this isn't accurate. We're not presenting this as accurate. We're presenting this as we have a structured way of building something. This is where our best guess could be. Refining that guess may make it more accurate, but it might not. And we've got no way of knowing either way. So are we just putting more effort in to potentially, well, to not potentially, but to definitely add zero extra value to it? And in fact, what would happen is if you brought this to a fully granular structure, so, well, our logic is women spend this much more than men or less than men, and children spend this different profile, or parents with children will spend this profile. So under 13s, this is what we should be doing. Over 13s, this is what we should be doing. If you went down that route, you'd actually find that you've made assumptions that are trying to validate and prove this, but you have no way of backing up that data. So your assumptions have driven something to present this is fact, when we have no way of going beyond where we are today with it. So in a lot of ways, I would say you shouldn't do that, because we could never validate that beyond what we have. If we could, yeah, 100% support, yeah, let's do more. But short of being able to give people a question or a survey, and we'd probably say this needs to be surveyed 20 times a year across all events, okay, just to kind of get that pool of data that we could then start to say, right, this is what we reckon is truly what's being spent. The biggest question marks are around kind of what does a far visit cost? And I'm saying £50 per head. Overnight in a hotel for a couple, plus taxis potentially, or how you get around, plus travel up there, be it in a car, be it in the train. £100 a head feels, sorry, £50 a head feels reasonable, but at the same time, it could easily be double, it could easily be triple. Likewise, near visit, where you're saying, well, I'm going to go get breakfast. £15 for like a full breakfast and your travel to somewhere potentially is low. I don't know. So we aren't going to be able to necessarily pull more out from this, especially if we start talking about the regular. As I say, I've put £1 in just so that there's something for those people who do decide to get something and those who don't. Pound feels like it's allowing there to be a wider leeway without forcing it to be anything. So I think a pound feels right. By economic benefit as well, should we include if they go on public transport? Would that, you can see where we're going with this. This is a problem. This is the reality and the crux of analysis that goes on. Okay? This is why we have to be careful. So, the last piece that I want to talk about with this, and this is the last piece. So one of the things that we're trying to do, or that parkrun has been tasked with doing, is showing that it's providing benefit to the communities and to communities that are involved, and in particular that a third of new parkruns take place in areas that are deprived. Okay, and this is real. Do not agree with this at all, as you can no doubt tell. So let's make this map full size. Okay, so this is our map of Newcastle with our various parkruns on it. Okay, now, for those of you that know Newcastle, okay, you'll know Denton Dean is over in the West End, and this is historically quite a deprived area. This is where we used to have all the shipbuilding, lots of like Armstrong Vickers, like munitions factories, that kind of thing. It's yeah, okay. So this would hands down deprived area. No one's going to argue with that, right? That's fine. That would tick the boxes that Parker would have. The challenge comes when you say, what about the rest? Okay. So Lees's Park is fairly simple. Obviously, a lot around Arthur's Hill, that kind of area, is classed as an area that is deprived. So it's, yeah, no problem. We can tick the box. They're near enough to that. Yeah, tick the box. Town Moor and Jesmond Dean, on the other hand, are more subtle. What would you say is a reasonable sphere of influence for a parkrun? From my side, I would probably say around a mile. Okay, so Town Moor Parkrun, this is kind of the route, runs around this whole area, this triangle here. Okay, so as you get into Blakelaw, Cowgate, they're areas of deprivation. It's very easy to get from there to here. Okay, and so it's serving that area, isn't it? And that's not a big million-mile jump that they go there. People from Cowgate could go to Town Moor Parkrun. That's an easy one. That's quite easy. And then you get to Jesmond Dean, and Jesmond is traditionally considered quite an affluent area. But as you go through, you've got Sandyford, we've got Shieldfield, we've got Byker, we've got Heaton. These are all areas that are considered deprived. So you could argue the toss that all 4 parkruns in Newcastle, 5K parkruns in Newcastle, serve deprived areas. You could argue that. So what does parkrun mean? What does the government expect is, I guess, the question. The reality, what I'm trying to make is, what I'm trying to say is, every park will have affluent sides to it and will have deprived sides to it. What we really need to be doing is, what are we doing to make them more accessible? So how can we make our events accessible. And this is about the whole inclusivity piece. And that's one of the things that parkrun does really, really well. And it's one of the things that kind of has caused historically a lot of issues with parkrun. So the traditional running club scene, as it were, is quite middle class. Okay. And I'm going to be sensitive about how I say this. It's reasonably middle class and, shall we say, monochrome. Can I get away with that? I think I can. I hope I can. Leave a note down below if you think I couldn't get away with saying that. Okay? So what parkrun does, though, is there's no pressure. There's no money that needs to change hands. There's no leaderboard for each event. There's no leaderboard. And even when parkruns had records for the events, there was no leaderboard to say, oh, this person, that. Honestly, the people who are at the front, they know, and they're like, yeah, okay. But what the pack does, which is the bit that makes parkrun what it is and is why parkrun is so successful, is they support each other. Right? I was talking to somebody today at parkrun about how everyone has their unknown rival. Okay, so you've got somebody, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to beat you. And in your head, you're probably thinking all sorts of horrible, horrible things about them. And, oh, I'm going to beat you. And if they beat you, it's, oh, and if you beat them, it's, yay. You probably never talk to them. And it's that side which actually makes a huge difference, because you strip everything away. I don't know who that person is. That person doesn't know who I am. They might actually not have me as their rival. They've probably got somebody else as their rival that they're going, I want to beat that person. But because everyone's kind of just in their own race, it means you can support each other. So you can then say, oh, how did you do? How was your time? Oh, I did really well. Oh, it was this. Oh, it was that. One of the things I like the most is the age grade rating. Because with the age grade rating, I can compare myself to anybody. So I can, I could run against children, against adults, against retired people. And our age grades can be used to compare. Oh, how did you do? Oh, I got my age grade today was this. Oh, as long as we did the same course, the age grades work. Obviously, you can't really compare Townmore age grading with Jasmine Dean age grading. For all the age gradings are the same. They're based on a flat 5K course. So it's kind of like when you get a hilly one, it's not great. But that's where the accessibility comes from. The barrier is broken down. You're kind of there, not in a suit, not in a tie, not in anything else like that. You're in kind of weird running attire. Some people wear pristine, brand new running gear. Some people it's full of holes. Some people wear old stuff. Some wear new. There's no, oh, yeah, who's that? Oh, who's that? Nothing like that. It's just, hi, you're right. And context is stripped away. So the last thing I'm going to talk about, and I hate this because it always makes me come across as a tinfoil hat wearing nut job. Incomplete data is used far too much in serious analytics, actually, like government stats, all those kind of things that happen, especially when you start looking at point of sale interactions. Okay, time and again with the UK government, especially who I've got the most experience with, I've been data lead for projects, is looking time and again and say, oh, it's that go-to metric. What's the ethnic origin of those people who take part in who use our product? They are asking that now for parkrun, and it's only for new members, so we're missing out a huge chunk of people, missing out the people who have already enrolled, which if you start looking at a whole other side of metrics, just, your early adopters, you're this, you're that, how far through that hype train are we then? Knowing, of course, we've got cohorts moving through. Okay, looking at ethnic origin for new parkrunners is meaningless. Okay, it's realistically going to take you 20 years before that data is potentially worth looking at. But considering it's going to be based on where their home event is, which most people don't change their home event ever, you're potentially going to have a student who's registered once to do Townmore Parkrun, done it once, and then goes and does something else. Are you going to track, well, this is where they've run, or are you going to track based on their effort? It just doesn't. And then again, what are you using it for? Does it correlate to whether they're going to do park runs more or less? The whole thing, okay? Just say no to silly data things. But what I've shown you, I hope, is that when we don't have complete data, it's really easy to get drawn into, oh, we can extrapolate from here, we can extrapolate from there. And just because we can, definitely doesn't mean we should. And it certainly doesn't mean that we're going to get the right answer, or an answer, not the right answer, the correct, true answer. Okay. The right answer is always whatever the boss wants, isn't it? The true answer, which is probably the more important one, is a lot more difficult to find and is a lot more nuanced normally. So we need to understand that the limitations of our semantic model and the limitations of our data set need to be correctly passed back and need to be respected and understood by our consumers. So for us, when we're putting, oh, I want this, we need to make sure, do we have the data for it? And make it clear. If we don't have the data, tell me now so we can work it out. If we're making assumptions, tell me, what can we do? Okay. But again, to avoid surveying people to find out, well, why did you choose this? What do you do for a living? What's your median house, what's your household income relative to your neighbors? Which is kind of what we're actually trying to find out. Ethnicity isn't going to do that. Let me know down below how far off base you think I really am. Does any of that make sense? Do you understand now why we need to think about where we're getting our data from and making sure that our data is telling a true story? For now, though, stay safe, take care, ta-da.